Hi. So recently I reinstalled GTA 5 and in 2020 it's still a fantastic game to play. I think a big part of its appeal has to be the setting of Los Santos. It's satirical Los Angeles right down to the famous Vinewood sign. Now, to err on the side of caution, I won't be showing or naming the real sign on which it is based, for legal reasons that have been explained in a different YouTuber's video. Needless to say, you are familiar with the sign. In fact, these might be the most famous letters in the world. There is just one detail, one glaring oversight that annoys me to an unreasonable degree. And once I point this out to you, you'll never see this sign the same way again. I'm happy to report that the Vinewood sign in GTA does not suffer the same sins as the original. This sign was crafted digitally sometime between 2010 and 2013, and the physical original sign was made some 90 years before that in 1923. Made by the Crescent Sign Company to advertise the Hollywoodland real estate development, the sign was only intended for use for about 18 months. According to type historian Rob Roy Kelly, the type style on which the sign is based probably dates back another 90 years back to the 1830s. Take a look at this early wood type specimen. I mean, that ampersand is amazing. Seeing as it was never intended to be permanent, this style of lettering was perfect for quick and cheap fabrication, seeing as it only has straight edges. Much easier to fabricate than curves at such a large scale. The land part of the sign was removed in 1949, and after years of deterioration, the sign was completely rebuilt in 1978 at a slightly smaller scale. Which leads me to my main issue. Seeing as it was rebuilt from scratch over 50 years later, why did they let this happen? In font design, letters are not mathematically perfect. They are tweaked so they look right to the human eye. This is called optical compensation. An example can be found with curved letters like O. They don't sit exactly flush with the flat-topped and flat-bottomed letters, but to the eye they appear aligned correctly. The same is true for variations within each letter. The stroke that makes up each glyph will be slightly thicker and thinner in different places, and the angles of intersecting lines will slightly differ. Take this imaginary capital W. Here's what it would look like if it were mathematically perfect. Symmetrical angles with every vertex located where these lines would logically intersect. But that's not what we see in real fonts. While all these W's are symmetrical, the stroke widths slightly change, and the angles and intersections all vary. Here is the W from the Vinewood sign in Los Santos. It's a perfectly fine W. Here is a big W from Los Angeles, California. See how the construction lines intersect in awkward ways? It sticks out worst in the negative space left by the downward pointing vertices. They look like little fangs, but this W clearly needs to see a dentist for those crooked teeth. It's just a nightmare. I don't blame the designers for this mess. I think that they answered their brief, make a big real estate ad, make it last for 18 months, who cares if it's perfect? But it would have been so simple to fix when they remade the sign in the 1970s. They were starting again from scratch. Did no one even think to do it right this time? If all of the letters were slightly quirky, a little bit off from perfect, that would be one thing. That could be charming. But this is just one letter. And that's not charming, that's a lack of care. Those crooked teeth will always be the first thing that jumps out at me whenever I see this sign. Even though Rockstar Games based their sign on a ready-made font, they clearly spent hundreds of hours making this sign, and hundreds of thousands of hours designing the world of Los Santos. This attention to detail is part of what makes these worlds so captivating, and part of why this series has been so enduring. Let's compare the physical sign in Los Angeles to another famous typographic landmark, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. This was made to a completely different brief. They wanted to make something globally recognized, and they succeeded. The sign's designer, Betty Willis, passed away at the age of 91 in 2015. There's an amazing interview with her on YouTube, and she is clearly a craftsperson of the highest caliber. She is proud of her work and her eye for detail. Even if you are not a fan of the glitzy Vegas aesthetic, you have to admit it really succeeds at projecting how Vegas wants itself to be perceived. And watching this woman talk about her work, you can't help but admire her effort. My name is Linus, I've been ranting about letters, and I hope to see you again in a future video.